This video is recorded on the experience learned and acquired after watching the videos about the following areas: factory layout, planning, design and presentation, industrial health, safety, and finally the technologies for manufacturing systems and DNC. The exercise is done as a virtual trip which compensates the physical trip which you are supposed to attend to Mombasa City. But due to COVID-19 pandemic, you are not able to attend the physical trip since COVID-19 pandemic came up with protocols which were to be followed by industries. The protocols didn't allow the physical visit to the industry, and first the protocols didn't allow the physical visit to the industry. And first, I want to thank the technology department and the entire institution by organizing such an event to compensate the actual visitation to the factory. And led by the department, led by our APO HOD, Dr. Kader, and our facilitator, Mr. Olo. From this virtual trip, we have been able to learn a lot about the factory layout, planning, and presentation of the factory. First, when one is designing, a designer is designing the factory, one should consider the final product at hand. Since the factory needs a gate and our entrance should be spacious enough to allow trucks to enter and leave the premises or of the facility when coming up with raw materials and taking the final product to the market or to the consumers. So the factory should be able to have spaces for parking of trucks. This allows the smooth movement of these trucks from the factory and inside to the factory. And the factory should be designed and it should have turbines to facilitate to provide adequate ventilation for the workers. This is to provide a conducive working environment for the workers and the personnel working inside the factory. And then the factory should provide the administration block. This enables the managers to carry their own work of managing the factory, to carry out their paperwork of records of raw materials and the final products. And also realize that the factory should have a fueling space and a station for fueling the trucks. So the space should be set aside to enable the trucks to have fuel and smooth running of the transportation. And the factory also realize that the factory has principles like principle of flexibility. So the factory should have enough space for future expansion, and the space should be separated from the factory with a blocks or with a wall. This is for future expansion. And working area and or working ways should be provided inside the factory. This is to enable the workers to work and to work smoothly or move safely, to separate working areas from where machines are in the factory. And hubs should be provided to enable workers to move or take loads or materials at high areas. And the lift should be there to enable movement from high level to lower level. And next thing is that parking space and should be there to accommodate all trucks of the workers or the factory trucks which facilitate the transportation of the factory materials. Layouts depend on the product to be produced. Like big machines requires a fixed layout and combination layout. And second thing is that the safety is very paramount for the smooth running of the factory. Uh, safety and health should be a personal responsibility. One should take her or her own responsibility to be safe when running out factory responsibilities. We realize the government has provided the legislation to govern the safety in the factory, in that the manager should provide with the PPEs, that is personal protective equipment, for the workers. This will enable workers to be safe when handling products like handling chemicals like hazardous to health. Some PPEs are used once and others are recycled. These could be overalls, glasses, and boots. And workers should be able to take care of themselves when working in the factory to enable them to be secure enough to be unsafe. So when handling when one is new to the factory, one should be familiar with the working area. He or she should acquire training on using of equipment like fire extinguishers. Like for example, the carbon dioxide extinguisher is a universal universal extinguisher used to handle fire. And since fire can cause health issues like can destroy health or can destroy property, fire should be handled using a CO2, since it's a very universal, and one should be familiar with the fire extinguishers. One should read labels and caution labels, where it says that not do this, and should understand what it says. And for safety in the factory, one should be familiar with all what is expected. And when moving around the factory, maybe we have loose mats. You should not assume, since it may cause accident to your colleague. And when using electrical equipment, don't use an equipment which you are not trained on. When there's a fault in equipment, you should consult skilled personnel on the same, and don't make your own repairs when handling electrical equipment. And for the technologies used, you realize that in the past, the machine tools was controlled by skilled machinists, but with the arrival of increases in demand and quality of parts, the computer numerical control replaced the skilled machinist, the manual handling of machine parts, and this was able to produce high quality, and they can produce large quantities. These programs installs able to control such actions like spindle rotation, cutting fluid, and the machine was flexible and accurate. Computer numerical system was used and currently is still used in processes such as turning, milling, welding, and welding, punching, and electrical discharge. And finally, in conclusion, I want to thank the department for allowing us and organizing such an exercise, since we have been able to learn a lot, like actual visitation of the factory. We have been able to learn and have the rough picture, or the actual picture of the factory, and and whatever is happening in the factory, and we have been able to exercise and have knowledge on the same of what we have been able to learn from the actual visitation. And finally, this has saved us, even as students, on the financial crisis which were there in this year 2022. And thank you.